Thank you for stopping by. I'm your political activist, Jeffrey Weiss, working to keep you informed of local and world events. Today we discuss saving Israel. When I refer to saving Israel, I don't mean protecting Israel. I mean saving Israel from itself. Let me start by stating for the record, I am Jewish, so please no talk of me being anti-Semitic. Now a bit of history. There are times when a race of people that has been persecuted will, when they become the dominant force, become persecutors themselves. It is a law of nature, and no nation has applied that law more stringently than Israel. Recall what happened in Germany after the harsh sanctions of World War I. They turned to Hitler. Instead of learning compassion and practicing peaceful coexistence, Israel not only takes away the land of another nation, but freezes that country from rebuilding their homes, their businesses, and their infrastructure. All vital goods and services are blocked. Gaza and the West Bank have only 2 to 3 hours of electricity a day. There are no sanitation facilities, waste dumps directly into the sea. Few schools operate. No hospitals have medicine. There is little fresh water, but that donated by relief agencies. My understanding is that Israel wants to debilitate the Palestinians on the West Bank and Gaza until they give up and move to Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, or Jordan. It is similar to, and every bit as bad as, the South African apartheid. Israel has occupied the territories of the West Bank and Gaza Strip since the Six-Day War of 1967, and since then has maintained control. Previously, these territories have been occupied by Jordan and Egypt, respectively, since the 1948 founding of Israel. In 1980, Israel officially absorbed East Jerusalem and proclaimed the whole of Jerusalem to be its capital. The inclusion was condemned internationally and declared null and void by the United Nations Security Council. Through two intifadas, 7,065 Palestinians were killed, while 1,101 Israelis died. That is, 87% of the deaths were Palestinian, even while there are twice as many Israelis as Palestinians in the conflict zone. Israel is guilty of using white phosphorus against civilians. Israel uses live ammunition against children throwing stones. Israel shoots unarmed civilians. Israel has targeted medical and aid workers helping wounded Palestinians. Now, here is what will happen in the next few years. Iran will no longer depend on American foreign policy. Sanctions will become a moot point as Iran makes up for any loss in trade with the West by trading with Russia, EU, China, and other countries in Southeast Asia. Second, the PLO, Hamas, and Fatah will no longer be untrained and have inferior weapons with which to fight back against Israel's technological superiority. Third, Iran is rebuilding its economy and its military and GDP. They will be able to supply the enemies of Israel with the best training and the best weaponry, some every bit as good as Israel's. In the next intifadas, Hamas and Fatah will be backed by elite troops from the Iranian battle-hardened fighters trained and supported by Iranian's Islamic Revolutionary Guard with modern armaments. The Palestinian arsenal will include heat-seeking RPGs, laser-pointing machine guns, grenade launchers, and other advanced weaponry. Now here's what will tip the battle in favor of the Palestinians. You may not have heard of General Qasem Soleimani. He is commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and since 1998 commander of the Kurd Forces, a division primarily responsible for extraterritorial military and clandestine operations. He is the greatest general in the Middle East, including Israel. He has long provided military assistance to anti-Saddam Shia and Kurdish groups in Iraq and Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in the Palestinian territories. In 2012, Soleimani helped bolster the Syrian government, a key Iranian ally, during the Syrian civil war. Soleimani also assisted in the command of combined Iraqi government and Shia militia forces that advanced against the Islamic State of Iraq and in the Levant. Soleimani has been called a living martyr by the rulers of Iran. Soleimani has been described as the single most powerful operative in the Middle East today and the principal strategist and tactician in Iran's effort to combat Western influence and promote the expansion of Shia and Iranian influence through the Middle East. According to some sources, Soleimani is the principal leader and architect of the military wing of the Lebanon Shia party, Hezbollah, since his appointment as Kurds commander. In the latter half of 2012, Soleimani assumed personal control of the Iranian intervention in the Syrian civil war when Iranians became deeply concerned about the Assad government's ability to fight the opposition and the fallout to the Islamic Republic if Syria's government fell. It was reported that he visited Moscow in 2015 to coordinate the Russian-Iranian-Syrian offensive. Americans, influenced by the media, have come to believe that Jews are more important than Arabs. Are Israelis worth more than Arabs? I think not. Therefore, to save Israel from certain destruction, America must force Israel to the bargaining table. Is it too much to ask Israel to give up a few square miles of desert and share the capital of Palestine? The United States should make foreign aid and military hardware sales to Israel contingent upon the tearing down of existing settlements in the disputed areas. Also, real progress must be made at the peace table, where all existing aid pledges, should be transferred to the Arab nations surrounding Israel. All parties invited to the peace process must be treated as equals. This includes Hamas, Fatah, and the PLO. Israel must conform to the newly aligned borders, peace process, and recognition of Palestine as an independent state, where Israel must be ostracized by the international community. And then, if required, sanctions should be put in place, just as sanctions were placed upon the enemies of Israel for decades. The U.S. must no longer support a fascist state bent on depriving millions of Arabs of their land, their freedom, and economic survival. In the coming wars, the tide of battle will turn in favor of the Palestinians. Israeli losses will become unacceptable to the public. It will become a war of attrition. And with 218 million Arabs in the Middle East and 8 million Jews, that is a war Israel cannot win. If my articles interest you, please use the link to check out my website and books. Thank you very much.